Continuing my experiments in Procreate, I thought I would add some colour to a pencil sketch, and this is the result. I use my own watercolour brushes, link in the description below if you want to get those, and this is the result. So let's get right into it. When I did my last sketch in Procreate, the pencil sketch, one of the questions I was asked was, what are the benefits of sketching in Procreate? And I think one of the biggest benefits or advantages is the fact that you can use custom brushes. So I'm doing another pencil sketch in Procreate here, and this is of Buxton Opera House. You can see it was raining when I took this photo, so that gives me lots of opportunities to make use of the light bouncing off the pavement and so on. But I wanted to use my watercolor brushes, but not to particularly do a painting, but just to do a colored sketch as I would in Teosui sketches or something like that. But before I really get into the painting, just while I'm sketching this in, I just want to quickly mention the Facebook group that I've set up. If you don't know about it yet, or you haven't joined it and you'd be interested, I've set up this group where we can share images. I'm going to be putting pictures in there that I don't post anywhere else. But more importantly, I thought it would be a great way where I could see some of your work, because a lot of you I know are doing your own paintings, and I'd love to see what you're doing. So if you want to go along to that, it's called Digital Easel and it's on Facebook. So I'll put a link in the description below. So if you want to join that would be great, because the more the merrier, and hopefully it will evolve into a community where we can all share photos and help each other in a very nice, friendly way. Anyway, that's enough said about that. Back to the painting. So you can see I'm doing a really loose sketch. This is typical of my sketching. Sometimes you'll see me do stuff a little bit more fussy and a bit more detailed, but this is how I like to sketch. And I don't do like tiny little lines and marks and sort of be very careful and finicky about drawing something. I will draw one line. When I say one line, I mean a long line, but I might do 3 or 4 attempts at it till I get the line that I want. But I do feel that it's important that you try and get it in one go, and you don't do these drawings where you do like little sort of stagger a line, like do a 3 meter stroke and then another 3 meter stroke, and they all join up. I'm not into that. I'm into being really bold and making a statement and getting your pencil lines on really quick and in sort of sweeping strokes if you can. So I did my pencil sketch. I locked that layer, and I'm using a palette that I created for a Renoir painting when I was painting in the style of, I looked at the colours in the palette before I selected it. I thought, yeah, they're exactly what I want, because I want this really muted colour scheme with this. I don't want it to be bright and vibrant like a lot of stuff I do. I want it to be really cold looking and not back. So I'm using my glazing brush and I'm putting the colour on. Then I use the eraser set to one of my lifting out brushes to lift the colour out, and then I'll use the blending brush, which is set to one of my blending brushes, all from the watercolour kit. Link in the description below if you haven't got that. I'd imagine most of you have got that by now, because it has had a hell of a lot of downloads. And then I just use the eraser to sort of lift out colour as I put it on. I find that a really nice way for adding colour to a pencil sketch or a watercolour, where I just sort of blob the colour on and then just sort of etch into it almost. So it's nice because you can sort of pick local colour and get it on really, really quick. And I like the way you can sculpt the architectural features into it as well. I'm not going to put any colour on the roofs. I just thought I'd leave them quite light. See, I was able to lift that canopy right out. And I'm working on different layers for this, because once with watercolour, once you've got a layer on and you're doing this technique where you're lifting out, you've got to be careful if you lay a colour over the sky, but you want to leave the sky in place and not damage it, then obviously you need to create another layer for that to work. So I was sort of messing about trying to get the edge of this opera house right. I was sort of struggling with that a little bit. I'm beginning by painting these railings in sort of a dark colour, but as they progress, I start to put the colour in the background, make a darker or mid-ground. All the bushes behind the railings, I make them darker, and then start lifting out the railings and erasing them. Just sort of adding colour there, and then using the eraser to lift out the highlights. Putting a few highlights in the puddles there. So this is a really quick sketch. I don't know, I don't see why you couldn't do this in Teosui sketches the same way if you wanted to. It's just that this is a kind of a style that I have developed in Procreate, but more for painting than sketching, to be honest. But it's working really well as a sketching technique. And then I could take this, I suppose, and then work on it and turn this into a full-blown painting. I don't see why I couldn't do that. In fact, I might do that as an exercise. I might even take it into Art Rage. Or I'll tell you what I've been thinking of doing. I've been thinking of starting a picture in Procreate and then taking it into Art Rage to finish it off. Because, you know, I've always done a painting in one app, start to finish. And most other artists I've seen, digital artists, all do the same. They work with one app to do a painting. But I'm thinking, why should you do that? Why shouldn't you mix up? If one app's good at one thing and another app's good at something else, why don't you start it off in one app, put it into another one, maybe even a third one, back to the first one, just to use the strength of the features in any particular app. So I've got an idea for doing that. So I might have a go at doing that with this. I don't know, I'll see. But I think it might be a fun thing to do. You notice in the foreground, I've kind of put that highlight in the water. I hope I keep that in, because that really sort of leads your eye up to the woman carrying the umbrella. And I hope I don't sort of overdo it and overwork it, and then that gets lost in the shadows. I can't remember what I did. I know I did kind of overwork it a little bit, because it's, as a sketch, it's not off bad where it is. It could be finished at that. In fact, I wish I had left it at that, but you know, temptation. Got to do a little bit more, of course. Here we go. See, I'm lifting out the railings. The problem is I used the wrong eraser and it looks very digital. If you zoom in on that, it looks way too digital. But I do correct it. I use my rigger brush with the eraser to lift that out a little bit later on. Trying to keep those buildings really, really light. I don't want a lot of detail in them. I cropped the canvas in Procreate I think probably for the first time ever. I don't think I've done that before. I've not made a video of the new features in the new Procreate, by the way, because I didn't feel that any of the features that were added were things that particularly would interest me as a digital artist with my style. And so that's why I've left it. There's loads of other people covering the new features, so I shan't be doing one, I don't think, because it doesn't really interest me, the features that they've added. Sorry about that. Anyway, this is it. That is my sketch in Procreate with a little bit of watercolor added. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, big thumbs up as always, much appreciated. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, because I've got lots of vids like this and I would love to be sharing them with you. So hopefully I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.